Well, hey guys, thank you for joining me on the 5th episode of Winning at Work and Home. Glad you're here. If you're watching on YouTube, again, what's up YouTube? Thanks for watching. Listen, I'm excited about this one. Hopefully this will help you to start out the week incredibly good. You know, I have some coaching clients that I just started working with, and they've had, since meeting with me the first time, they've had some tremendous days. And really, I want to talk a little bit about what I talk with my clients, kind of their first session, and kind of get an idea of where they are in the key areas of life, kind of rate the most important areas of your life. So, you know, hopefully in this podcast, what will happen a little bit in this episode anyways, is it'll be a little bit of participation. You know, what I really encourage kind of every single time is for you guys to have something where you can write some notes down. You know, I carry this notepad. You can't see it if you're obviously listening to it, but if you're watching on YouTube, this little thing right here, I'm always writing, pulling notes, you know, putting notes in there and stuff. Again, always off to the side of the road. And writing stuff down. So, you know, when you write stuff down, you retain it. I mean, it is what it is, right? You guys know that. You understand that. I'm not telling you anything new when I say that. But the more stuff that we can get out of our brain and actually write down and put in paper, you know, we retain that more. So, and that's one of the things that we're going to talk a little bit about today in regards to, you know, really identifying and getting an idea of what's important to us, and then identifying what we need to do to make sure that we are doing the things that are important to us. So just so you guys know, one of the things that I do is I do some coaching. I kind of take on select clients and, you know, people that are successful, people that are motivated, people that are really wanting to excel not only in their career, but more importantly, really excel at home. You know, whether that's you know, being an incredible father, an incredible mother, you know, maybe it's a, you know, in their relationship, they just want to be an incredible husband, or just be an incredible person in general. You know, it's not just about the work. And so often what we do is we identify ourselves way too much with our careers and our work. And then what happens is when we're not working, then we kind of lose who we are a little bit. And you know, unfortunately, that's what happens so much is, you know, especially as guys, and I'm not saying this for women, but we just identify ourselves so much with work, and then that's all we think about. And it's hard for us to unwind or get our mind, you know, switched out of work into, let's say, dad mode or husband mode, whatever it may be. And the same thing for women too. I'm not saying it's necessarily any different. If you're, you know, working and getting it done right, it's hard to switch. You got to go to mom mode a lot of the time, but then you still maybe have a needy husband that you got to then go to wife mode. I mean, it's almost, well, I'm not going to say it's almost. I feel that women have to juggle way more than us guys do. Us guys maybe have a different pressure, you know, but women, you have to juggle so much more, and you have an incredibly, you know, different type of pressure, if you know what I'm saying. So one of the things that I want to share with you guys that I think is so important, and I really, hopefully, it will encourage you in this next week, and to really make sure that, you know, if you're listening to this podcast, let me give my thoughts. If you're listening to this podcast, you're looking to get better, you're looking to grow, you're looking to develop as an individual. You know, otherwise, you won't be listening to me. You won't be taking this time to do this, and that's really, you know, what's important to me is that I'm progressing, you know, hopefully getting a little better, hopefully getting a little wiser every week, you know, because as we always talk about, life is challenging. I mean, it just is what it is. You're in relationships. If you have kids, if you don't have kids, you know, our bodies, we got to take care of our bodies. So you got to make decisions on food and, you know, working out and different things like that. Business, we got the pressure of business. You know, everything is evolving so fast that we have to adjust. I mean, you know, if you just sit back and, you know, and don't adjust and don't move and make decisions, you know, somebody's going to pass you by. It's just the way and the speed that everything is going. You know, so there's a lot of pressures, and sometimes we can feel I don't know if it's just me, I doubt it is, but sometimes we can feel, like we're just out of control. And it's we just run and run and run and run, and we lose certain areas of our life. We lose what it is that we want to be in those areas because we're just running so hard in other areas. And hopefully what we can do in this podcast, this journey together, is make sure that we're running on all cylinders, make sure that we're really focused every single day and self-aware and aware of what it is that we're trying to be and what it is that we're trying to do every single day. So listen, when I meet with people for the first time, I usually send out an email and there's a bunch of questions in there and different things to really get the mind working, those individuals thinking of their future and what it is that they want. But often when I meet one-on-one with somebody, I ask a simple question, and I want you then to really rate this if you can. If you're driving or whatever, you don't have anything to write it down, I want you to rate this in your head. But if you can, grab your notebook, whatever, a piece of paper, a pen, and kind of work along with me here. I believe that there's key areas, there's certain areas of people's lives that are incredibly important. With all the people that I met, it's pretty much the same thing. Number one area would be their faith. I'm a Christian man, and I'm not saying that, I'm not assuming that you are, but faith, your spirituality is important to you. Relationships. A lot of the people that I meet with are married or in relationships. Relationships are important to you. If you have kids, you being a parent, that is a key area. That is important to you. If you have a body, which you do, right? Everybody does. Health should be important to you. And if it isn't, it affects you in a certain way. So it is a key area of your life, whether you take it that way or not. And then your career, then you have your career. Everybody's got to pay the bills. As we talked about, stuff is not free. Food is not free. Electricity, the gas to heat your home, groceries. Everything costs money, and you have to then earn money to pay for things to survive. So your business, your job, what you do to earn a living matters. It's a key area of your life. So what I would like you to do is write down on a piece of paper. Hopefully I'll give you a little bit of time. Grab a piece of paper, and I want you to write down spiritual. Then below that, I would like you to write relationships. And then you could put under there marriage, or just leave it as relationship. And then I'd like you to put under there parenting. If you got kids, if you don't have kids, then skip that one. And then I would like you to put under there, I'd like you to put the word health. Okay? And then I'd like you to put career or business or job, whatever it may be. And then what I'd like you to do is I just want to ask you a simple question. On a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being absolutely horrid, just terrible, it's almost, whatever. 5 being average, but really not that good. And 10 being off the charts, good. Where would you rate it? So let me ask you the question and go down the list. Where would you rate yourself spiritually? Put a number down there. Put a number. The first one that pops to your head. I don't want you to think about it too much. I just want you to put that number down. Okay? Then I want to go through relationships. If you're married, where would you rate your marriage right now? On a scale from 1 to 10. Now, if you have 10 on there, I'd like to talk to you. Comment and stuff and let me know. And I'd like to talk to you. Okay? 10 is very hard in any of these to achieve. Okay? If you have kids, on a scale from 1 to 10, what's the number you're going to put down as far as how you feel you're doing as a parent? Okay? Put that number down. All right? What about your health? Put that number down. From 1 to 10, where would you rate your health right now? Okay? And what about, I want you to rate the last one, rate your business, your career. Where would you rate that, of how happy you are with it, everything? Just rate it right now. Okay. So if you look through that list, okay, your spiritual, your relationships, your marriage, your parenting, your health, your business, you rated it on a scale from 1 to 10. You have numbers there. Okay. What we need to try to do, what we want, right, is we want to be progressing. We want those areas to be better. We really do. I mean, I don't think there's anybody in here that could say, you know what, my health is perfect. I'm actually kind of good. I don't think I need to do anything. There's nothing that I think I could be doing better. I'm going to the gym 6 days a week. I'm eating incredibly healthy. I prep all my meals, and come on, man, there's not that person out there. If you, like I said, if you rated your marriage a 10 and you're thinking, wow, everything's perfect, it could not be better, then you're probably delusional, right? Or you don't know, or your spouse. I'd be curious to see what your spouse would have to say. Your career, you may be incredibly happy with your career, but I know for most people there's things that you need to do to improve it. There's things that you want to do that you haven't been doing. In your spiritual life, I know that we all struggle with that from time to time. And there's something usually with everybody that you may not feel as close as you want to feel to God. Certain things that you should be doing. You want to feel that closeness, but you may not feel that. Okay? So we all have those numbers. And if you were to look down the list, there's room for improvement. There's room for improvement. And really, guys, what it is that makes us, one of the things that makes us happy in life is when we are growing. And we really need to understand that. If we're not taking, these most important areas of our life and we're not progressing in them or working towards, becoming better, strengthening those areas, what happens is we become stagnant. And there's something deep inside of us that just doesn't feel right. So when we take these key areas and we really take them seriously and we start to progress and we start to look at what it is that we need to do and we work on them, we feel bad because we feel good. Excuse me, we don't feel bad, we feel good. Because what happens a lot of times, why we're unhappy, and I talked about this all the time, guys, I did little quotes on this, little posts, is a lot of the reason why we're unhappy at the end of the day is we let other things, we let minor things take away from the most important things in our life. And then we don't feel good about it. We feel guilty. But when we can protect those key areas of our life, okay, and we make sure that we're getting those things done that's important to us, that we know we need to do on a daily basis, at the end of the day, we can look back and we can say that we won the day. And that's what I talked about a little bit in episode number 4. We can look back and we can say, man, I took care of the things I needed to do in my business. I did the things that I needed to do in my health. Okay? I hope that makes sense. So I want to ask you another question. And sometimes the answer to this is incredibly, incredibly obvious. Sometimes it just pops immediately to your head and that's the right answer. And sometimes when I ask this question that I'm going to ask, sometimes you honestly don't know. And you need to take time after this podcast or whatever it is to identify what it is that needs to be done in that key area. But this is a question that I'd ask. I'll ask you this. Spiritually, you have a number down there. Spiritually, you have a number. In order to move that number up, what's one thing that you can do every single day that will have you progressing upward on that scale? What's the one thing that you can do starting today and do it every day that's going to have you progressing up that scale? Write it down, whatever it is. A lot of times I hear people say this prayer time. And you like to think that people are taking time to pray if they're Christians or that's what's important to them. And a lot of times they're not. And they know that's the one thing. So what do? You do the one thing. Whether you want to or not, you do the one thing. Okay? Let me ask you another question. In your marriage, in your relationship, What's the one thing that you can start today? One thing, one act that you can start today that's going to move that number upward. What's the thing? Write it down. Write it down. This is a lot of times where we kind of, ask the people, and they're like, oh, I just don't know, and ask the question, well, have you taken a love language quiz? And I haven't. So therefore, rewind. If you haven't, go to 5lovelanguages.com, identify what your spouse's love language is. If it's quality time, physical touch, acts of service, whatever it may be, gifts, you've identified what their love language is. Do one thing, let me repeat it again, one thing every single day to feed into their love language. If it's words of affirmation, say one nice thing to your spouse daily. That's it. That's one thing. That's going to begin to move that needle or start heading towards that 10. Okay? Hopefully this is making sense. You guys keeping along? You understand what I'm saying? Hopefully you guys are writing this down. Let me ask you another question. In your parenting, if you have kids, what's the one thing that you can do with your kids, or how you can be as a parent? One thing that you can begin immediately to implement that will begin to move the number upward, move the needle upward. What's the one thing? Write it down. A lot of times it comes real quick. Quality time. Sometimes it's 5 minutes with each child. Sometimes it's not raising my voice when they raise theirs. It's just one thing. We don't need to have a dozen things. We don't need to have 3 things. What we're doing right now in this podcast is we are identifying just one simple daily act that we can do in the most important areas of our life that's going to move the needle or progress us upward in that area. So I don't want you to write down 3 to 4 to 5 things. I want you to write down one thing and make sure that we can do that one thing every single day. And then if we can add 2, then later on we'll add 2. Okay? Let me ask you another thing. Let's get down to the health. What's the one thing that you can begin to implement right now, the one act, or one daily act that will begin to progress that needle up or move that number up? What's the one thing? A lot of times for people, it says go to the gym 5 days a week. Go to the gym. Go to the gym. Then you write it down. Go to the gym. Okay, that's the one thing, right? This is not complicated, guys. It's not complicated, but definitely not easy. Not easy. Okay, let's go to business. You rate your business. It may be a 5, it may be a 6, it may be a 7, it may be a 3. I'm not sure what it is. But what's the one thing that you can implement right now, today, that's going to progress the needle up? What's the one thing? For sometimes in real estate, I work with a lot of real estate agents. It says daily contacting people, right? It's 15 personal touches per day. That's all it is. That's all it is. I'm not sure what it is in your business, what you do, but there's an activity that is incredibly important that I'm sure you have been putting off. And if you did it every single day, it would make you feel better, and it would help and increase your business. If it's the simple thing of cleaning out your inbox before you go home at the end of the day, that's one act that you could do that may clear your mind and have you coming to work the next day not with a full crazy inbox from the previous days. It kind of stresses you out. I don't know what it is. You have to identify it, right? What's the one thing that you can do every single day beginning now that's going to move the needle up? So listen, guys, hopefully you have some stuff written down. Hopefully you had that. And listen, I don't know how to stress this enough. Life is not easy. I totally understand that. There's issues. I got 4 kids. If you have kids, I'm married. We have I think we got in a little argument on Tuesday about something. I was being a little wimpy guy, and she kind of snapped at me, which didn't really snap that much, and I got so hurt. I was such a little baby, right? And then it's like I'm hurt for a day and a half, 2 days, because I'm just sensitive like that. But listen, relationships are hard. It's a funny story too. I don't know if I told you this. My little daughter, being a parent's hard. So my little daughter, she's, she's young, and we're having a good morning, just hanging out, And I thought everybody was in a good mood, right? It's like we're getting ready for school. I'm brushing my teeth. She comes in the bathroom, and her jeans don't fit right. It's like the jeans are a little tight. She's like, "Yeah, my jeans are tight." And so and she was kind of happy, but a little annoyed with the jean thing. So I said, "Oh, no big deal. Just tuck in your stomach a lot." And boy, you would have thought that. I don't know. When I said that statement, it's like, oh my gosh. She's like, "Oh my gosh, Dad, I can't believe you said that to me," and just stormed out. It was like wild. And then the rest of the morning until we, were halfway to school, she was so upset, and I can't believe that I would say that to her. And she's young. She's like 10 years old. It's just like, geez, okay. But yeah. So listen, we all deal with that kind of stuff. There's things at work. There's bills. There's people we have to manage. If you're in management, whatever it may be. So listen, there's stuff. But the point is, if you've identified what it is in those key areas of your life, if you understand your spiritual relationship is important. If you understand, obviously your marriage is important. If you have kids, being a mom or a dad is important. You got your body, you need to keep it healthy. Everything takes energy. When you exercise, it clears your mind. It helps stimulate your mind. It helps repair your mind, right? So your body, when you exercise, just isn't for your physical body. It's for your mental body as well, your mental mind, and keeps you on track there. And we all got to pay the bills. So we all have to work and bring in money or income, or we got to manage a household, whatever it may be, which then a lot of times if you're managing the household, you're also managing the bills for the household. There's so many different things that needs to be done. But if we can go through the day, if we can start the day clearly knowing what it is that we need to do in the most important areas of our life, and what we do is, now guys, this is key. You have to listen to me on this one. Please, please, please listen. All my coaching students, every single one of them, and this is what I want you guys to get to. Every single one of them, when they start out with me, I need to see, they text me every single night, okay? I need to see their day finished before it starts. And what I mean by that, when they go to bed, they have to, text an image to me of what it is that they're trying to achieve in the most important areas of their life. Like, I am close to God. I am an amazing husband. I am an amazing wife. I will earn blank net 2017. I am incredibly fit, whatever it may be. And what they need to do, what they send to me is the one, so sometimes two actions that they are going to do the next day. So I get a sheet of paper. I get just a normal sheet of paper, whatever it is, or you guys can't see it in the podcast, I'm doing a YouTube, or in their journal, whatever, and they take a snapshot of knowing, of written down what it is, the things that they need to get done. And it's not a lot. When I get these sheets, they use my day page. I have a coaching system for that, a little day page. A lot of them use a day page. It's not too many words on there. It's just those things, right? If there's 5 areas that are important to them, there's just 5 things written down. I will go to the gym. I will contact 15 people. I will spend quality time with my wife. There's not 1,000 things. You get what I'm saying? So listen, my encouragement to you is, why not do the same thing? Why not either re-listen to this podcast or rewind it, go back, take a journal, take a piece of paper, rate the most important areas of your life, your spiritual, your relationships, which could be your marriage, which could be your parenting, okay, your health, rate that, rate your business, okay, on a scale from 1 to 10. And then identify, think about this. What's the one thing that you can do to begin to move it up, to begin to progress? And listen, guys, that's success. That's what I talk about. Success is not a fancy car. It's not a big house. It's not having so much in your bank account. Success is really, I feel, every single day, okay, going out and being able to do the things that you need to do in order to live a life in which you're happy, which you're blessed, and then you can go and be a blessing to others. And that's why it's so important that we make sure that we have our stuff in order. And I can't stress this enough, guys. If you don't have it written down. And if it's not something that you can look at throughout the day, and at the end of the day when you're getting in bed and you can go back and you say, did I do this? Did I do that? Check, and you can check and check and check. If you have something on there every single day and you want to be an amazing parent, and one of the things that you write down every single day, the night before you go to bed, for the next day is for you to, let's say, discipline softly, or I will not raise my voice. Because I don't think when you raise your voice, that gets the kids hyped up too, and then they kind of got you and get you up more, right? And that's the one thing that bothers me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't need to raise my voice. That was stupid. That was silly. And then I feel bad, right? So if you're writing this down every single day, and then at the end of the day, you can look back and you say, did I do it? Check, or did I not? But at least you're checking. It's a check system for yourself. You're like, you know what? I didn't do a good job. Let me write it down and let me try to check that box tomorrow. Okay? As opposed to not being aware of it at all. And a month goes by, 6 months, 3 years, and you've been an a-hole to your kids because, you yell like maybe your parents used to yell, and that's something you never wanted to do when you were a parent. You see what I'm saying? So it's a daily accountability, a daily, making sure that you're getting done those most important things, those key things. Okay? Does this make sense? What I would like you guys to do, if you're watching these, getting to the end, if you're listening to them on iTunes or whatever it may be, or you're watching on YouTube, I'd like you to comment a little bit. If you feel that this is good or beneficial or whatever it may be, comment. Give me a comment. Do that. Or like I always say, if it's beneficial, share it. Share it with somebody. Now, one of the things that I want to end on this, I did a little mindset minute the other day called Dog Kisses and Discipline. I don't know why. I just put dog kisses in there because the title sounded cool. Because right when I was doing the video, Ellie, my boy's dog, came up and gave me a big old kiss. And then we talked about discipline. But one of the things that we need to understand, guys, listen, we always talk about becoming more disciplined. We always say, I want to become more disciplined. And listen, the only way that you become more disciplined is to become very, very, very good at doing the things that you don't want to do on a daily basis. That's the only way. You want to become more disciplined. You want to get out of bed in the morning. The only way that you're going to, earlier, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to hit the snooze 3 times. You don't want to hit the snooze 5 times. The only way that you can become more disciplined is to get your butt out of bed when the alarm goes off the first time. Get up. Get up. The only way, you're not going to want to get up. It's not like going to be, I want to become more disciplined, and it goes off the first time and you'd be like, yes, I'm more disciplined. It ain't going to happen that way. If you want to become more disciplined, if you want to become more disciplined in your health, you're going to have to go to the gym pretty much, I would say 80-70% of the time when you don't want to go to the gym. You may have those days where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to go to the gym. But more often than not, you're not going to be pumped to go to the gym, and that's what you train your brain to do that. There may be certain things in your relationship that you need to do for your spouse, and often their love language is completely the opposite of what our love language is, which in turn then makes it hard to speak it. So there may be times, where their love language is acts of service. And you've been working your butt off all day. And the last thing that you want to do is come home and have to start doing things around the house, or help with the dishes, or help with this, or do this thing that your wife has been asking you to do, right? So freaking what? If you want to become more disciplined and you want to have an amazing marriage, you got to buck up and do the things that you don't want to do. It is what it is. In business, right? I don't know of too many people that are super pumped, to maybe pick up the phone and start calling past clients or whatever it may be. I don't know. Probably 80% of the time, you're not really going to want to do those things. But if you want to become a more disciplined person, you have to get really, 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 really good at doing the things that you do not want to do, and then all of a sudden you're just a disciplined person because you do the things that you don't want to do, but you do them anyways because you know they are the right thing to do. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Hopefully this worked. I really, really want you to take this information. I want you to go through the most important areas of your life. I want you to rate it on a scale from 1 to 10. And I want you to identify the one activity, the one thing that you can do that's going to move the needle up. Okay. I also want to let you know, I talk about the fact that I do coaching and I have a real estate business. One other thing too is, I don't know, you can see it on YouTube. I always forget that it's Walks with Mr. Smith right there, that book. I always forget that I wrote a book too. I never really kind of promote that or talk about that, but yeah, I do have a published book and I think it's pretty darn good. I mean, I like it. It made me cry. Everybody that reads it, it makes them cry. It draws some emotion to them. It really helps them. So listen, if you're interested, it's called Walks with Mr. Smith. Okay, Walks with Mr. Smith by Damon Eddy. If you just Google it on Amazon or whatever, you'll find it. It's there. But listen, I would love to send you one too. If you comment me, I'll probably send you one. But listen, I wanted to let you know that that book is available and that book is out there. But I always forget that. I don't know if I talked about the fact that I wrote a book in about 6 months to a year. And it's like I forget. I just saw one back here on my bookshelf. I'm like, wow, man, I'll grab it and share that. So anyways, guys, have an awesome rest of your week. We'll do the episode number 6 in a couple days. But thank you so much for listening to the Winning at Work and Home episode number 5. Thanks, guys. See ya.